I think the biggest thing for this press conference is more just kind of where we're at. I don't think I've spoken to y'all since the Citrus Bowl. A lot of things obviously have transpired from a roster standpoint, coaching standpoint, hires, players new to the program, high school kids enrolled, so on and so forth. So I'm going to kind of do a broad stroke across some stuff and then let you guys fire away. I think from a roster breakdown, pretty interesting. I think we're probably the epitome of college football today. We had 40 scholarship players leave our program off of last year's team. 24 portal transfers, 3 early entries into the NFL draft, and then 13 seniors. We've added 43 scholarship players. With 19 portal guys coming in, 24 freshmen, 22 of which are already here. And so, as I touched on a lot of different times along the way in our journey here, you have to adapt, and I felt like this year more than ever, we've had to continually adapt to the times of college football and college athletics and what's happening right now. And so I'm very pleased with the additions that we've made so far. Like I said, we're closing in on the end of February. We got a long way to go. But when you bring in 43 new players into a roster, into a locker room, into a culture, I think one of the main challenges is becoming a team. And just like I touched on with the team about a month and a half ago, I said, I looked around the room. I said, we've got a very talented group of individuals in this room. And now our job is to become a really talented team. And so we've probably done more work this time of year than we ever have in the past from a culture development standpoint. A lot of that culture work, we would wait until June and July because that was the old model. That was when the majority of your players arrived, was after school. And now we've moved that up, and we started that the first week of February. And I think it's been very helpful, not only for the new players, the high school kids, the transfers that had come in, but I think our own current players, because we've got now players on a roster that are ascending into leadership roles. And so that's been really good. And it's been very interesting to talk to players coming from other programs. Like I said, we've got 19 players from other programs now that have come in. They haven't done things like this before. And so it does reinforce some thoughts that what we do is somewhat unique to us, and it's very valuable to us. And so that's been a great process, and I'm really proud of the guys, the way they're working right now in the winter conditioning program, and getting themselves ready for spring practice. As you all know, from a spring practice perspective, we'll start March 9th. And we'll go 3 practices that week. That'll be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we'll do 3 practices, and then we'll go to spring break, and then we'll come back and do 12 more, and those will be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday format. And again, there's been years we've done this. I think we've done this once or twice in the past. And a lot of that, quite frankly, it's not because I want to or I don't want to. It's more predicated on our final schedule, truthfully. When I was like, well, why are they doing that this way this year? Because to be fair to our players, our players have to go to school at the University of Texas. They have to go in person. We don't get to go online every day and do it maybe like some other folks get to do it. And so I have to give them a week to get ready for finals. If I would have pushed spring ball all the way back till after spring break, we would be butting up right to finals. So that's the genesis of why we're doing it that way this year. And then we try to find the benefits in doing it that way. I think it gives us a chance, one, with a lot of new faces, some new coaches, a new defensive scheme, to get the base install done in the first week, let them go on spring break, and then come back and kind of do it again. And so we're stealing a week that way. So we're looking forward to spring ball. But like I said, the guys are working very hard on that front. Naturally, we had a fair amount of offseason injuries. I don't think any more or any less than we've had throughout the years. And all those guys are progressing really well. I've been very pleased with the guys, getting out of the slings for the shoulder guys, getting out of the boots for the feet guy or the leg guys. So all those things are progressing the way we would like. I think to think that they're all just going to be ready to go for spring ball wouldn't be fair to them, and to think that every guy is going to be on the exact same pace as the next guy isn't going to be fair. Everybody's body heals a little bit differently. Everybody's on their own trajectory and their path to get back ready to play. So some guys will be cleared for spring ball. Some guys will be limited at spring ball. Some guys may be only allowed to do walkthroughs in spring ball, and that's okay. We're going to be okay on that front. But there was a reason we did those surgeries right after the season so that they could be 100% healthy when summer hits and then getting ready for fall camp and then into the season. So that's on that front. Obviously, we got the NFL Combine this week. We've got 7 guys going. Naturally, I would have loved for that number to be a few more. Wish there's a few more guys would have gotten invited. They didn't. That does not mean they're not going to get drafted. That just means that they've got their opportunity at Pro Day to perform when Pro Day rolls around, and we'll have a great showing at Pro Day like we always do. And we've historically now, I think we've set a pretty good trend of our players getting prepared to play in the NFL and getting drafted into the NFL. So again, having 5 first-round picks the last 2 years. And the amount of draft picks we've had, 23 over the last 2 years, 28 over the last 3. We're looking forward to more of those guys getting those opportunities to do that, and fired up for those guys this weekend in Indy to go perform. And so looking forward to do that. Just kind of, state of the program, I do think, I said something before the Citrus Bowl that I was kind of crossing my fingers. I hope would come true, and it did. I think we had over 9 million people watch the Citrus Bowl. And you looked at a couple of those first round games of the college football playoff, I think about 4 million people watched that game. And so I think the brand of Texas football is very strong right now. I think we're the second most watched college football program this past season, with an average, I think, of a little over 7 million people per game watch us play. So I do think the brand and what we're doing right now is very high. We won, like I said, 10 games again for the 3rd straight years, 35 wins over 3 years. And again, our people compile a lot of different notes for me. But in that time, in that 3-year time, I think we've beaten 14 top 25 ranked teams, which is tied for most in the country. In the last 2 years, we've beaten 10 top 25 ranked teams, which is the most in the country. And so we're really proud of a lot of those things. And again, at the end of the day, I've said this numerous times. My job and why we're here is to go win championships, SEC championships and national championships. And those are always the ultimate goals for us. But there are metrics along the way that we can lean into that know what we're doing the right way, and we can be very proud of the things that we're doing. But this year is going to be no different. We're on a mission to go win a championship this fall, and our guys are working extremely hard to get that done. And they're not only doing it on the football field, I think we're doing it in the classroom too. Our fall semester team GPA was 3.31 again. And our guys, I think we had 55, either academic all-conference players or honorable mention, which is a tremendous number from an honor roll perspective. And our guys they're doing things the right way. So I'm proud of them on that. I'm proud of the work they're doing right now, and I'm proud of the way this team is already starting to come together. We've got a long, long way to go. But like I said, in the state of college football and where it is today, the health of our program, I think we're running a very healthy program, not only on the football field, in the classroom, preparing our guys to go play in the NFL, being on the cusp of winning a championship. And so I feel very comfortable with that. And I know there's going to be a million questions about other stuff, but I felt like it was important to kind of touch on big picture of kind of where we're at as a program, and feel very good about that, feel very good about the coaching additions we've made. I'm sure we'll talk about that. I think all those guys have come in and hit the ground running and did a great job of not only developing relationships with the current players on our roster, but also from a recruiting standpoint, which, again, this is going to be another big recruiting year for us. There never isn't one. It's our lifeline, and so we've got to do